Good afternoon, everyone. Andy Jacob here with the DotCom magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series. What a show today. We've been able to book Mr. Nick Askew, and Nick is the co-founder and CEO of Luminary 2. And let me tell you about Luminary 2. They are one of the leaders in the car dealership creative marketing agency space. They do such an amazing job. They're helping so many car dealerships with their brand identity, with their creative strategy, with their user experience. They do application design. Nick is becoming very well known in the car dealership space right now, and it's just a delight to have such an expert on the show today. Nick, thanks so much for joining us on the Entrepreneur Spotlight Series.
Appreciate it, Andy. I'm very happy to be here.
Nick, this is super great. I've gone through the website. We've looked at the work. You're really doing incredible work as a marketing partner for so many important clients. Let's pull the lens back to 30,000 feet as we like to do at the beginning of the show, Nick, and tell us just a little bit about Luminary 2.
Yeah, thank you. So Luminary 2 is a creative and marketing agency that specializes in multi-touch marketing strategies for digital experiences. So whether that is a dealership or a business-to-business corporation, what we want to understand is what their goals are and how they're interacting with their customers and utilizing their website, Facebook, Google, any digital marketing platform to be able to generate content that's human first, ultimately, and aids in whatever their business goals are. Sometimes it's revenue, sometimes it's exposure, but that's what we do is we business first. And instead of just pushing out a product for our customers, we just need to understand their business goals, who they are, sometimes help them with their own discovery of who they are, because it's not always something that they think about, and just help them have meaningful connections with customers that aid in their own business growth.
I love it, Nick. I love it. And you're doing such amazing work. And you mentioned dealerships. Let's talk about that a little bit. Tell us how you're ingrained in the dealership space at Luminary 2.
Well, personally, I come from a dealership background in retail. You know, I sold cars, was a finance manager, sat on the sales desk and helped with deals, and ended up leading an internet sales team, BDC, which is Business Development Center, fancy word for call center, right? And to generate traffic into the dealership. So what happened with that is I became marketing director for a dealer group in Texas. And, you know, it always seemed to me that I could build out things outside of the dealership role that helped solve a lot of problems that dealers have with, you know, third-party vendors with their own website and marketing. And ultimately that led me to Luminary 2, which was something dealerships are a big part of our client portfolio. And really within the website space, within the digital marketing space, there are a ton of products, right? And you know, every vendor can come to you with, hey, we have a product for that. We can do Google ads. We can do this geofencing, or all these buzzwords that are out in the digital marketing, in digital marketing. But the main thing to us is, how do we break past all of those fads for dealers and provide them an ROI on their digital marketing and a great place to drive clients, and really help them grow their business. You know, that's a big thing for us is moving past what Facebook or Google or any digital agency out there decides is the next fad targeting tactic, and moving them into a meaningful strategy.
That makes all the sense in the world. I call your company the non-agency agency, because when you come on and you look at the very bold creatives that you've been able to do at Luminary 2, Nick, something comes through very, very apparently, is that you really have been able to mix artistic art with your modern marketing. It's amazing how artistic everything that you're doing is. Let's talk about that a little bit, Nick. Do you have an art background, and why is that so apparent on all the work you do?
Yeah, no, it's personally, it's something that I truly have believed in since discovering a bunch of agencies out there in the automotive space. I do have a music background. I went to college for music technology and composition, but what I've found, especially in the dealership marketing world, is there's a ton of programmers and technology out there, and you can tell that it's built without the aesthetic eye that really connects with the human being, and that's one thing that's on our website. You'll see a phrase we've coined is that art connects and science converts, right? You can't have a connection with a human without something that had passion put into it, without something that resonates with them and says, you know what, I connect with this experience and I've had that myself. The aesthetics is just the icing on the cake, right? But you no matter what we do with Google, with SEO, right? Things can be SEO friendly, but we're not here trying to trick search algorithms to showing up first, right? Google rewards their users, and they reward websites with a situation where they, if they provide their customers the best experience when they search for something, they'll come back again and use Google, and Google's looking out for us. And yeah, we're their customers, but at the end of the day, they want their customers using Google again. So what they want to do is provide their customers with exactly what they're looking for in a great experience. And ultimately, how you do that, no matter how the algorithms change, is you got to look after the person. You've got to give them exactly what they want. So that's what we try and think about everything is the art and the science is speaking directly to a human, and then using technology and using the science of the data to decide what those best data points to show them, and then you can drill down really granularly into things such as, how a page layout is set up and what colors the buttons are, and use that psychology of that thing. But at the end of the day, it's that combination of your human connection plus the science that's going to create a successful marketing strategy. And there are tons of companies that do great at one. There are great art houses, and there's tons of companies that do great with technology and programming. But it's really hard to find people that fuse the two into something that's meaningful and that ultimately can help with a strategy that's got longevity.
I love it. And you've done such a great job putting such a remarkable team together. And we want to talk about that momentarily. But you've been featured on the cover of Auto Dealer Today. They highlighted your methodology. They called you the industry's social superstar, which I love. And obviously, you continue to live your passion through Luminary 2, helping businesses grow in so many different ways. It's really, really amazing. When a dealership or a potential client reaches out to Luminary 2, Nick, what's the onboarding process look like? What types of questions do you ask to make sure that you're the right company to help your potential client?
Yeah, that's a good question, because we try and take a reverse approach. And look, I've sat on so many webinars, right, where it's like, hey, let me tell you everything that our company does. This is how we can help you. This is how successful. Here's some stats. Here's some percentage growth and what you can plan to achieve when you do business with us. And our methodology really is slowing down and speaking about the customer. How do they identify themselves, and what is unique about you? I ask a lot of dealerships specifically, if I could buy a car from you and someone down the street that has the same price, it's the same vehicle, like, why would I even buy from you? And it's crazy the amount of people that go, you know what, I've never thought about that. So we try and help them figure out what their key differentiators are, how they fit into the community and solve problems, how they identify their goals, what are they looking to get from a modern marketing partner. And then we build out a custom multi-touch strategy that works for them and their needs. And if we're the right partner, great. If we're not the right partner, I've got tons of people that I can recommend them to. And sometimes they're looking for a quick solution. But if they're really, truly looking for someone that's going to get to know them and what's unique about them, figure out what's different about their brand, and connect them to their local community, then we're the right person.
I love it. I love it. You really take such a such a great look with your clients about what you can do for them, Nick. You mentioned about the brand and you mentioned about the local community. Let's talk about that a little bit. From your perspective, Nick, how does the brand work in a local community? In other words, sometimes when these clients reach out to you, do you feel that they have the wrong branding for what they're trying to represent to the local community? And if that's the case, how do you look at that branding for the local community?
Yeah, so I think most of the time in a small business, it's not always thought about. You know, a lot of people think that their brand is their logo, but the brand is much more than that. It's their visual identity, but it's the words that they choose to describe themselves. It's the problems they solve. And realistically, good marketing or successful marketing, as well as exposure, it's an accurate representation of the experience that they're going to have when they actually do business with our clients, right? So we can tell them what works in their current climate and what their visual identity needs to look like. But if we don't set the expectations accordingly, and we put out there into the world that, hey, you're going to experience this when you get here. It's no hassle. We treat every customer with respect, and then a customer comes there and they try and peel them off the ceiling with a high price and work them and hound them, and like. You're going to create a bad experience because of unmet expectations. So what we try and do is really get to know what the decision makers and the business leaders are passionate about, and then connect that to their marketing. There's no right or wrong answers, right? We have customers that are super altruistic and sentimental, and they're in the business to help people. We've got other people that are in the business to make it efficient and solve problems, and it's one price and that's it. You see what you get and you're going to do business with us, and that's fine. And all we need to try and do is paint the accurate representation of what that business does on the ground floor. And then, then our designers get to work and we create good visual aesthetics. We create a great website that's going to connect and convert and just aid in that customer experience any way that we can with our digital platforms.
I love that, Nick. So every single dealership, every single client has a unique selling proposition. You get to the bottom of that with your clients. You understand what they want to provide and the way in which they want to provide it, and then you deliver. And for our younger entrepreneurs watching the show, this is a great example of thinking about your clients, working with your clients, asking your clients what they want, and giving them the professional advice and opinion that they pay for to get them from point A to B, which is helping more customers, getting more sales, and hopefully those customers telling 10 and 20 and 30 and 40 and 50 people about the great experience they had with the company. Nick, when we look at Luminary 2, one thing that stands out is you do a great job with video. I mean, some of the videos you have are just beautifully done. They're very professional. They look phenomenal. For your client base, how important is sort of that video component to get across the branding, to get across the growth, the creative identity of your clients? How often do you use video, and how important is that for your customers right now?
It's extremely important. It's all about the delivery method as well. It doesn't work for everybody. I've got some clients that are true, and I hate to harp on this human connection thing and overplay it in this conversation, but video can be used for a variety of things. I've got some companies that work with us that love remotely animated video, and it's going to live on social media, and it's big messaging that people are going to use as an advertisement. They're going to be sitting on the social media, scrolling away, and they're not going to have sound on. Over 85% of people first watch a video on social media, no matter the network, with their sound off, because they're doing it at work, they're doing it on the couch, and their family's sitting around, right? So sometimes that method is the most successful way of getting the click, right? But there's other people that we want to have an actual connection with and showcase the culture of the place, showcase something that's happening on the ground floor. My advice with video is making sure that if you're either you understand what you're going to try and do with that content, either it's storytelling or it is to entertain, to educate, figure out what that is. Because I think a lot of people go, hey, we need video. Video is the highest performing media on social media, in digital and everything. But you really think about how that human being is actually going to interact with it. A lot of people try and just shoot a TV commercial and throw that on social media and see if that's going to work. And although it might get some views, it's not going to have its maximum impact unless you truly think about how people are actually going to digest that media.
That's incredible. I mean, Nick, that is absolutely interesting. And, when we read about you and we look at your personal journey, one thing that's interesting is you say that your company is they're strategy shapers. Say that 3 times in a row. Bar raisers, idea makers, and world changers. And I love that. So let's talk about raising the bar for your customers, because you have a lot of clients that come to you and they say, Nick, we need a boost. We need some help. We need to change our brand, or our brand identity is not what we want it to be. Our creative strategy needs to be looked at. Our user experience perhaps is not as good as it possibly could be. So when we think about changing the game for customers, Nick, what's the process? How long does it take for your company to really figure out what the client needs before you can sort of come back to them after the discovery call and give them some goods that kind of opens up their minds and say to themselves, wow, I'm so glad I called Nick. Luminary 2 is just giving me some great ideas. I'm ready to roll with them.
It's a great question, and we shoot for a week. If we can get the interaction that we need from the client, sometimes it's getting access to data and seeing where they may be missing the mark or being truly successful. That's the thing about it, is if they're being successful at one thing, we don't want to come in there and give them our strategy. We want to remove everything that's unsuccessful and replace that whilst retaining the things that are actually moving the needle for them currently. Because, a lot of businesses are doing things right. They just can't tell you what they are doing right. So if we can get that interaction, we can speak to the stakeholders, the people that know that company. We can understand their brand, their value proposition, what they feel like they're personally lacking, and then be able to look at it from a lens that they're not, and analyze their brand, analyze their digital presence, their conversion rate. And also a lot of companies that are in my vertical kind of miss out on is, how are we handing you opportunities or growing that revenue? It's great. We don't operate in traffic. Yes, we can generate a buzz and we can send people to your website, but what's happening after that? What's the experience like when you get a lead? Are you giving people the experience that you've set them up for during your messaging, right? So we want to just understand exactly how all that works and how they're best set up for success, and then help tailor something towards them. And I'd say that process, if we get the best interaction from our clients, it can be done in a week.
That's awesome, Nick. And it's very interesting that you talk about the lead. So let's talk about that a little bit. You do such great work at delivering customers to your clients. Luminary 2 is known for the great artistic and marketing skills that you and your team have, and you deliver a lead to a customer. Now, we know, unfortunately, that for many businesses out there, they're not really great at following up on that lead. Sometimes they get the lead and it's right there and it's a customer that's ready to go, but they don't have a great follow-up system, or they don't have the right type of chops to contact that customer, or don't have the ability to follow up in a way that's meaningful for the customer and talk to them in a way that psychologically wants that customer to move toward that business. So when someone reaches out to you, Nick, and you do all the great things, you deliver the lead, but you watch it and you say to yourself, we can do something better to have that lead convert. What type of experience do you bring to the table for your clients so that you can say to them, hey, you're not converting these leads as well as we would like you to. We're delivering all the leads, but let's do something here to make your lead conversion better. How do you handle that?
Yeah, so that is unfortunately something that's missing from a lot of marketing agencies. We did our job, that's our responsibility, and we handed you that opportunity, and do with it what you will. I think it all goes back to something that's really prevalent in our culture, is that we try and refrain from saying that's not our job. For us, sometimes that means going the extra mile in a way that isn't necessarily going to be the best thing for our company, but we truly care about what happens. So we do, for my automotive customers, I'm partnered with another company that offers training from salespeople all the way to F&I to help them convert the maximum amount of leads possible. But really, with people outside of automotive and anybody that's a customer of ours, it just means pulling up our sleeves and mystery shopping them, helping them get email templates when they need to, helping them understand like, hey, this is the data. Let us get in your CRM and understand, 50% of the leads haven't been contacted in 24 hours. Like, that's a big problem. Sometimes it's because they don't have the people or the processes, and sometimes they just don't know. So it just is a matter of us caring enough to go, all right, you didn't get as much success as you needed to this month. Let's dive deeper outside of the realms of our responsibility and care enough to be able to help you get there. And that's something that everybody in my team is trained, whether it's dealing with another vendor, dealing with different point people at our clients, if they've got a BDC manager, if they've got their own sales managers, we'll connect with them and help them make the best of their situation wherever we can offer value. And, we can't ever get into the mindset of, well, that's not our job. We believe in the success of others as well. There is room for all of us. Just because because we want to be successful doesn't mean another third party or a vendor has to be unsuccessful. We're all here to help our clients, no matter the roles and responsibilities. Their success is our success, and that's what we put first.
I love it, Nick. That's absolutely unbelievable. And that leads us to the next portion of our interview, which is very exciting for me to ask you these questions, because as an entrepreneur, you've had a wonderful journey. You've built a wonderful company and continue to build Luminary 2 as a leader in the field. So when we think about entrepreneurship from your standpoint, Nick, we have many younger entrepreneurs that watch the show, and they always wonder, watching successful entrepreneurs like yourself, like, how did he get there? Or how did she get there? And what type of internal strength does this person have? And do I have that same internal strength to build my own company like Nick has? So maybe you could help the younger entrepreneurs out a little bit, Nick, and sort of give some advice to the younger entrepreneurs about what it takes to push through those tough days and what it takes to push through when they hit a pothole in the road and things like that. Because oftentimes these younger entrepreneurs question themselves, but watching and hearing from successful entrepreneurs like yourself really can help them out.
Yeah, look, that's a great thing to bring up, and it's something that I struggle with all the time. Even throughout this interview, leading up to it, I have a conversation with myself. It's like, who do I want to be? I don't want to mess this up. I want to make this the most successful 30 minutes of my day. And I think I look at everything on a daily basis as I don't have any idea what I'm doing, truthfully. You ask, what does it take to build a great company? I don't think my company is that great. I think my people are great, and I owe it to them every day to try harder to be able to make a culture that they feel like is a good environment for them. They're being their best selves. They're paid well. They're fulfilled. And I do think that's what it takes, is not looking in the mirror and going, I'm the best, and this is a great company, it's the best place to be. It's being really hard on yourself and trying every day to make it better for the people around you, better for your clients. And as an entrepreneur, you put a lot of pressure on yourself to do that. It's it's not easy to have that mindset, but it does help you on that relentless pursuit of growth of I'm going to be better tomorrow than I was today. I think a major part of that is not thinking that you have all the answers, that you've made it. I think the moment that you say you've made it, there's a moment that you stop learning and being hard on yourself and pushing. And, the potholes, I've fallen into lots of them. I still continue to on a daily basis. You're going to have grit to get past that. You're going to know that you're going to lose some. You're going to have some really hard conversations. You're going to make a ton of mistakes. But all that matters is that you make decisions. People work themselves into a paralysis of indecisiveness by not having all the answers. I need to do some more research. I need to get this. You should get about 70% of the way and then go, I'm going to make a decision. And you might not have all the answers laid out, and you're going to run into things that you're like, well, if I would have thought of that 2 months ago, I would have never have done that. But you know what? The indecisiveness will stop you in your tracks because you will never know it all. You will never know it all. And you can't do it all by yourself. You just have to do right by the people and have the humility to maybe let them know that you don't have all the answers either, but you come to work every day trying your hardest, honestly, to make it a good place for them. And, that's really, again, you're asking me this question. I don't have the answer to it. I just wake up every morning and try. And when I win, I win. When I fail, but then wake up the next morning and work my ass off and try again.
I love it, Nick. This is so amazing. We hear this from many entrepreneurs that we speak with, the same type of conversation that you just laid out for the younger entrepreneurs is you don't know it all. You can't possibly know it all. Surround yourself with talented people. Surround yourself with a mentor, ask the right questions, and continually ask yourself questions because you want to grow every single day to give your clients the best possible service that you can provide them. And that's what you've been able to do at Luminary 2 so successfully. You have so many companies on your roster that you've been able to help. You're a go-to person for people that want to learn about strategy and branding in the dealership space. And it's just a delight to have somebody on the show that really has that passion for their customers. And what comes through on the interview, Nick, is the fact that you care. And people feel that. And when people are going through a buying decision, what happens is we know from research that they buy based off of personality and whether that person's going to care for me. And that's how you've been able to build this company to the heights that you've been able to build it, because people know that you care. You're going to take that call at 11 o'clock in the evening. You're going to take that call at 6 a.m. in the morning. You're going to answer emails when you're out to dinner. You're going to be all in for your customers. And it's really amazing to have you on the show here, Nick. I have one final question for you. And I've been wondering about this because I know you're very, you combine the wonderful compartment of art with the wonderful compartment of strategy, and you put all those together to make a great company. When you hire somebody at Luminary 2 and you're looking to have someone join your team, what's the single most important thing that you look for when you make a hire for someone to join your team right now?
That's a great question. I look for a few things, and realistically, the number one thing is, are they smarter than me? Really, they've got to possess something that I don't have. I think a lot of people make the mistake, especially early on in business, is that I'm going to hire someone that I can train. I need an assistant. I need a little version of me. And that's the wrong thing. You need to hire people that possess a skill or a discipline that you do not have, because that's going to give you another string to your bow, if you will. It's going to give you another thing that you can accomplish. When I hired developers and creative directors and, project managers for timekeeping, I'm thinking about so many different things, and I know my weaknesses. I understand them, and I'm not ashamed of them. There's a lot of things that I do well, there's a lot of things people on my team do well, but it's understanding not just your strengths, but the things that you need to fill in and the skill gaps that you have. I want to make sure that they're kind people. They care as well. They're going to treat my team with respect. They're going to be passionate about what they do. A lot of my creatives, they be doing this in their spare time. They're painters, they're musicians. They really care about that sort of personal fulfillment and the passions that they do. So, there's a few things that I listen to when I'm speaking with someone. But I would say, in answer to your question, the number one thing is, are they smarter than me? And that's what I'm looking for.
I love it. I love it, Nick. This is absolutely amazing. For all the people watching the show, there's a lot to learn from entrepreneurs like Nick. For dealerships and other customers, please reach out to Nick. He's doing an amazing job at Luminary 2. Nick has been called a superstar by Auto Dealer Today, and he is. He's a fast up-and-comer in the field, and he's really been able to fuse so many different things for his clients that really makes it very interesting. Go to the website, look at some of the creatives and the client studies. They're absolutely amazing. Nick, it's been really a delight to have you on the show today, and I wanted to thank you for carving out some time to be on the Entrepreneur Spotlight Show.
Thank you so much, Andy. It was an absolute pleasure.